Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, lights. I'm going to put lights on.
I'm closer. I'm not. Oh no, because you're there.
Oh,
Better?
yes. We always do this. We never get the lights in.
Hi, everyone.
Someone died.
So today we're doing question Q&A. I think that way we get Coach Yvonne in properly.
Yeah.
She's always somewhere on the corner in the periphery.
There we are.
So we're doing Q&A. I asked a question in the community about the kind of stuff that you ladies would love for us to talk about. Hey,
Sonia.
Hey, Sonia. So we're going to just answer some questions. We're going to start with the video title that I've put up today. And the first video title is, the first question, it's not the first question, but it's the one we're going to handle today, but we might end up either staying there or getting a chance to answer the rest of the questions.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, from Dreamy Dips, how to handle when the guy I'm flirting with or dating shares lustful stuff on social media, like Instagram Reels or intimacy or kisses.
Mm-hmm.
Who would like to answer that first?
Can I kind of delve into the lustful stuff?
Over to you.
And just kind of let's clarify, what does that actually mean?
I am assuming that it means maybe naked girls or gyrating women or I don't know, something sexual, overtly sexual.
So light entertainment of the kind.
I don't think it's quite porn because I think Instagram might get rid of it, but something in likes. Yeah. That's my assumption. Like lustful stuff being, you know, overtly sexual, graphic sort of, or just a bit overtly sexual, I think.
Yeah.
But we don't know because she's not
he's
here
sharing it on.
He's sharing it on his reels.
Okay,
And
so
she also
okay,
says here reels of intimacy
with.
or kisses.
Yeah.
So
is she sharing them with her or sharing just on social media?
No, he is sharing. So she's flirting with a guy.
Yeah, and then
she's basically saying if you're flirting with a guy and he's sharing sexual stuff.
Well, we know what he wants, right? That is true. We know what he wants. He's just telling you, and he wants you to respond. He just wants your sexuals. Sorry, that's the thing now. He just wants sexuals with you, and you need to be clear. And you know what? I think sometimes it's okay if you want them back. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. Nathan says sexual gifts or memes. Yes, he's trying to get you to go down that road with him.
I think,
if you're that way inclined, go ahead and share them too.
Yeah. What
But
do you think?
if you're just flirting with him and there's a question that's been asked to say, it's either the young lady's not comfortable with it, or if she is comfortable with it, then okay, what do I go back and do? Because it could be new for her and she's not sure how to do. Does she say, okay, tell me more? Or does she say, you know what, that's not, you know, what I want? And if he's somebody that she wants to maybe continue flirting with, maybe she just wants to know some tips and tricks of how to get him interested in her.
Well, might be, but from what I'm
sides,
getting,
isn't it?
Yeah, what I'm getting, because I know this lady, Dreamy Dips, is always in the comments, so I kind of have a feeling about who she is. Yeah, this is my supposition, I'm just making absolute suppositions and all kind of presumptions here. I sense that she's a good Christian girl, or at least a good religious girl, who's looking for a stand-up, sweet boy, and the guy she's now talking to is out here showing his nature. So I feel that if I am correct, and this is what Dreamy is really worried about, because I'm getting from the tone of this that, you know, she's flirting with him, she likes him, and he's out here posting, showing his behind for everybody to see. I think it's a simple. Yeah, I think if you're the girl who's open, well, have a bit of fun, get a few tips, whatever, but if you're the woman that I think you are in terms of what I've seen in your comments and this question, if you're being shown who this man is, what other question is there? Does he fit into your narrative of the man you want or not? Because we know that quality men who have who have something to offer are not out here posting nude pictures or sexual stuff on their Instagram. Now we know men are sexual, we're not judging them for that, but I think it's really about, he's giving you information. Your job is to gather data. You're flirting or dating to gather data. So this is who he is, and like Coach Unique says, he's showing you what he's on. His priority right now is not a loving couple walking hand in hand. His priority is to get laid. So it's really up to you to decide how you want to handle that.
And is it she can say no, because the choice is there at the moment. It's just a flirt, and she can continue
Date
and
other
not
people.
I think it's about, I guess it's like, because she's asking how do I handle, so it's more of, okay, what do I say back to him? I am interested in him, but then what do I actually say? Like, okay, is it a complete stop sharing those, just don't share that particular content, or let's talk about something else? I guess we have quite a few scripts about that.
I don't think he's sending her reels. I think it's just his general posting.
Okay.
So she's saying, like, says with dating. So what she's saying is she's flirting with this guy, and when she goes to his Instagram, all you see is naked girls kissing.
Okay.
So I don't think he's sending her it. That's just his general content.
Okay.
And I feel like if you're flirting with somebody, they don't owe you anything.
That's true. I think like, so. But that's the thing, is where you are vetting, right? You're actually looking, and thank God for social media, because social media will tell you a lot more about the person, their thought process, because what we share in our stories is really about on the moment, on the go. Okay, this is what I was thinking, this is what I saw. Oh, let me share with my social media friends. So, and the thing is, the more you share something and you get feedback, we keep sharing it more, right? So I guess according to him and his friends like that kind of content, because you'll see that as well on statuses on WhatsApp, and men will share content like that, and it's up to you to then remove yourself from that person's social media or continue, because if you're continuing, you're saying it's okay, I don't mind seeing this with you, because remember, at the end of the day, if you're watching someone's story, they can see that you've watched their story. So if they see the views going up, then you must be okay with it. So if he's not necessarily sharing them with her, so it's really not for her to discuss or to handle. She
can't just be flirting with a guy and then now have a conversation with him about his posting. It's just inappropriate. I think if you were dating or in an exclusive relationship and you had never seen her socials, and then you finally go on his socials and think, bloody hell, then maybe we can have a conversation. But I think flirting, he doesn't owe you anything. He doesn't have to change his feed for you, but you can definitely take that as information.
Let's say you are actually in a relationship or married to this guy, and then he starts to have an interest in sharing that kind of stuff. How do you handle that?
I think that's where we have the conversation.
How do you have the conversation?
Well, I think it's kind of the same format, isn't it? Of, babe, I was on your social media today, and I need you to know that you have every right to post whatever you like and whatever makes you happy. But it makes me feel uncomfortable, or it makes me feel disrespected, or it makes me feel unsafe about our relationship. I think it's the same format of saying, look, you have every right to post what you like, but it makes me feel a certain kind of way, and then you can't force him to change. Now I'm hoping you would have at least been on his social before marrying him, because that would have been a helpful thing to do. But like you said, let's say he has an evolution, midlife crisis, and decides, I don't care, I'm going to share what I want to share.
Some women who just don't, and I know for a fact there are a few women who just don't have social media. And I guess because I know their husbands, and you'll kind of start to see feeds. I'm like, does your wife actually know that you're posting stuff like that? Those kind of things.
And I think probably these are the men who probably blocked their wives or something. I mean, I just think if you're stuck with a guy like that and you're married, you're a married woman, what would you say per chance? I mean, it would never happen, of course, but let's say he had a moment. What would you do?
I laugh.
Because it's so not him.
You're right. It's so. I would have that conversation. because I would want to know, okay, after all this time that we had been together and all this time that I've known you, what was the need that you would need to do this for other people to see you?
Yeah.
Because there is definitely a need, you know, or is it that after a certain time that you've discovered a taste for exhibitionism? And if, you know, I don't know. So
Please do it in front of me, because I would love to see.
Yeah, so, you know, if it's just between the two of us, then that's fine. Or, you know, but I would want to know, you know, did this need come up overnight because of something that you saw? Or was it that you've always had it and you feel now is the best time to explore it with the hope that I may, you know, understand? Is it something that I would understand and give him my, go for it, sweetheart, if it makes you feel good, you go ahead and do it? I can honestly put my hand on my heart and say, no, it's not something that I would go for, and I would want to delve deeper into knowing why.
I love that. I think it's compassionate, it's loving, it's kind of more questioning.
Yeah.
And I think in a marriage, you kind of don't have a choice but to come from that place, because no one is trying to get divorced. Because it's a lifelong commitment. So I love your approach. I think it's more compassionate and more resolve orientated. Like what's happened, explain, how can we move forward? And I think that's definitely the healthy way forward. So, you know, but I think any time before I do, you know, before I do, the door is open. I'm not saying it's not open, it's not locked in marriage, but it's shut. You know, no one's locked you in. You can always open it and leave, but at least the door is shut. But I feel like anything before that is an open door policy. So we're always kind of negotiating standards on the basis of, if you can't accept my feelings being hurt or my position, then we can always walk away. And so you can be a little bit more straightforward. You can tell him how you feel and what you would like to see different, and try to negotiate terms and conditions for that. But I think in marriage, you kind of really have to come with that compassionate position. What do you think?
No, I think the same thing as well. I think that's where we're saying about the whole, in marriage, you kind of have to always keep the communications open. And it wouldn't come as a shock, would it?
It shouldn't do, because this is what I'm saying. You know, they talk about the that men get to that age where they're doing everything all right, and then all of a sudden they go out and buy a bike, and it's not because they have that midlife crisis. Do you know, is this a midlife crisis that you're going through? And if it is a midlife crisis, why that particular one? You understand the bike, you understand, you know, the fast car, you've traded in the sedan and now you want a Porsche, you know, you understand those. But when it comes to, you know, taking pictures of yourself in that way, or looking at it that you've never done before, what's going on here? Let's look at why.
Can I actually present something to you though? Because remember, social media is a fairly new thing, and men have kind of caught up with it. So you now see a lot more good-looking men, a lot more men who will pose for the camera, whereas it wasn't really something that was seen back in the day. So I'd say again, when it's one of those things where we're being introduced to so many nuances that we've never sat down and thought, what is social media etiquette? Because in your heart, if these are your friends, so you can share what you would share with them in a WhatsApp group, no?
Yeah.
So I think my take on that is, it's just that people just don't know how to be social on social media. And they think just because I've got so many followers and so many friends and I get so many responses, this is what I should be sharing. So I think most of it is misguided. So there's also that part where what's her name again? Sorry,
Dreamy Dips.
Dreamy Dips is, you have to consider the nuances of social media. How old is this guy? Is he been born into social media? So they would understand the etiquette of that. Because very soon not very soon, we are coaching men now. So it's also that, like, how do you then present yourself on social media? Don't do this, do that. Don't do this, do that. So it's all of those things that we have to really take into consideration, as in, he could should, and the thing is, men don't take most of these things seriously. we may be the ones who are really looking deep into it, and all he's doing is just sharing something that someone shared to him on social media, and it's for laughs.
Yeah.
And the thing is, sorry to blast my dad. I'm not that he's shared anything that's sexual in nature or nude, but there's some dad jokes that he will share with the family, and I'm thinking, that share that with your friends. Like, it's not for all of us.
Yeah.
So they don't understand the social media etiquette of it.
But you know, what you say there is we forget that there's something called tomorrow.
Yeah,
And
true.
what works for you in today when you're 20. This gentleman now, let's say he is a 20-year-old and he does that, and whilst it was it remained there. 25 years later, he's into politics, and somebody decide they're going to do a deep dive into him and look into that photo. Then that was for a laugh. Comes back and bites you on the bottom tomorrow. You know, so nobody's trying to take anybody's fun away from them.
Yeah.
But we do have to be careful regarding social etiquette of the things that we post. If you really don't care and you're not going to go into politics and you're not going to do anything that you're going to say lead a country, a people, a tribe, whatever, then, you know, go for it, and fingers crossed you don't get found out.
But most of them get found out.
We've got Kit here. Hi, Kit.
Hello.
How are you?
Who
So
have you
good
got?
to have you, Kit.
Kit. Okay. Hi,
Lamanda
Kit.
Davis. Hello, Lamanda.
Yeah.
Always nice to have you.
Hello,
Coach Unique is
Iffy.
out here in these streets.
Sonia.
In her
Nicole.
excellence, hello Malawi. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so I think we've answered that well enough. I feel we've answered that.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we haven't, we can come back to it. Let's see, what else do we have? Old timer. I like old timer. She's on my Instagram as well. Hi Chengi. I was hoping you can touch on the topic on feeling like you're not worthy of a relationship. Just something I've been thinking. I would definitely like your input on this, and if you have a video on it. I think Coach Unique could answer that really well. Remember,
Really?
there was a conversation we had a while ago, not so long ago, when we're really discussing the issue of feeling unworthy of a relationship.
Yeah.
Not necessarily personal to you, but we were having that conversation. But if you don't remember, that's fine. You can just give us an answer.
I think, again, it's a deep thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It actually, it's touching my heart, because you get to a point where you just have to accept your own worthiness without anyone telling you. You have to really look at yourself. No one can ever tell you whether you're worthy or not. No one can tell you you're beautiful or not. Everyone else only really reflects what you already feel. So already in that comment right there, I just want to give you a hug. And just say,
Hugs
you're
from Coach Unique.
Because for you to have got to a place where you're asking that question, it's deep. It's quite deep, because I don't know how old you are. When you get to a point where you're in your 40s and you have your first proper relationship when you're 40, and when you've unpeeled the layers because you've done the work, you now understand, okay, I couldn't actually have relationships before because I felt I was unworthy. And you do the work on yourself, and then you discover, I am actually worthy. But it's that journey from realizing I'm worthy to then feeling you're worthy and then being told you're worthy. So I'd give you a hug to start off with.
Yeah.
Tell you you're worthy. And get you some affirmations to actually let you know that you need to really believe it from your heart.
Within, yeah.
Because no one else can tell you, right?
Yeah, I hear that. And if she's coming from a place of where she's been in a relationship and has broken up, whether it's a marriage or a long-term relationship, and they're either separated or divorced, that too can make you feel unworthy because of however it broke or the separation came into being. You feel unworthy because you feel that you didn't do right by, because you're supposed to, but sometimes that doesn't happen, and when that doesn't happen, we always put ourselves front and center and tell ourselves that we weren't worthy of them, or they, what you did for them was not enough, and so because you didn't do enough, that made you feel even more unworthy of. And it's such a dangerous road to go down, because you can be kept in that place for so long where, what do I do? And it's that hole that you dig yourself into, it's hard to climb out of it. I know that hole, I know it very well. I dug it myself, put myself in there, shoveled the dirt back on myself, and laid there, and then say, okay, I'm ready, walk over me, you know, because of breakdown. Yeah, very much so. And it is, and as you said, it's doing the work and making yourself trying to get through to you that you are worthy. It isn't an easy road to walk. It is a difficult, a long road of acceptance, you know. So
I'll tell you what, when I hear this in anybody, I know that this is not about being worthy of a relationship. This is about worthiness, period. And we learn our sense of worthiness at a very young age. We learn from the families that we're brought up in, and we're taught by our mothers how to attach the world and how the world sees us. So it may seem like it's about being unworthy in relationships, but if I sat down with you, any of the coaches sat down with you, we would probably discover that you're probably in a job you don't feel worthy of, or you're in a job you don't love, but the one you really want, you don't feel worthy of it. So we probably have friendships that you don't feel worthy to be in those friendships. The truth is, there's a feeling of unworthiness in general in your life. Now, we all, at some point in one capacity, are intimidated by new beginnings, new things, marvelous things. The problem is that when you were taught growing up that I was raised in a family where worthiness was equal to accomplishment. I was only worthy if I was winning, getting a trophy. I remember kind of like parent and teachers, like a prize giving day. You know, at the end of the year, that was in Zimbabwe. I don't know if they do that here. I don't think I've ever been to one of my sons.
No.
So I don't think they do it here, but at the end, or maybe they did. But they don't do it anymore. And I remember at the end of the year, my parents and my sisters would only come if I was winning a prize. If I'd been nominated for a prize. If I wasn't nominated for a prize, then nobody would come. It doesn't matter. I was always the lead in the school play. I was such an achiever, but if there was no accolade or something to come home to, that did not receive attention. So I quickly learned very quickly that my worthiness was attached to my perfectionism or to my accomplishments. So I became a very driven, very ambitious person, because only when I'm winning am I worthy. Right? Only when I'm perfect am I worthy. Only when I'm doing the right thing or keeping my mouth shut. So you would have been taught a protocol of worthiness. But actually, as a baby growing up in a family is there to teach you that you are worthy because you are, because you were born. You are worthy because you are here. And that's what family is supposed to bring. But depending on your type of family, your worthiness would have been on the basis of such and such. So now that we're dealing with relationship, and you're asking yourself, I don't feel worthy of a relationship, it's because you don't really know what you need to score, how you need to score in relationship, Phil,
I like that.
to win a relationship. Exactly.
Because it's like everything else in your life has always been scored. But no one scores relationship. It says, okay, you need actually a 5 to get in here. Then there's university, no one scores you. So I think it's not even just a viewer's perspective. I think it's all of us. We have those levels of unworthiness coming into relationships because we've never had scores set to it. And some based on your attachment style when you're growing up, if you're a secure attachment, you feel, oh yeah, I'm worthy, so I've got the 10 out of 10 score, so I can get into a relationship. And then you find out later on, no, you actually don't, honey. So I think I love when you say because relationships were never scored. Get into marriage, you don't need a degree, you don't need to study for marriage, you don't need to study for relationships, you just get into them because that's what it is. Your parents got married and they figured it out along the way, and relationships are one of those things that you figure out along the way whether it's right or wrong for you, and then somehow, somewhere, you get to a point. So if you've been functioning on that filter of low self-worth, your relationships are always going to be filtered through that. So you almost always feel like, I just never qualify for relationships. So it's again working on the filters of worthiness. I think Amanda's saying something.
Did you want to say something?
No,
Yeah,
I was just going to say worthiness also, I believe, comes in the family environment, depending on where you come in the sibling.
Yeah.
If you're first or last,
Yeah.
or if you're
Or in
one in the
between,
middle, you know, it's as you said, you were towards the end, and if there was going to be a prize given at the end of your, you know, school year, then yes, we would go. But if there wasn't, but I'm going to be there.
Yeah. Just will show up for you was never really an option. It's like, if we come, are you going to be getting anything? If you're not getting anything, we're not coming.
Exactly. But the fact that you're, you know, you know, you're the master of ceremony. That's something.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Come to here, but dependent on, you know, the first one, I think gets everything because it's the first.
Yeah.
And so you know,
and the
all
parents
the
are still
trials,
excited about being parents, right?
for the first time, and you know, everything gets done for that. Then the second, the third, the fourth, and depending on how many after, then it drops off. The more then it drops
and you have to
until
also
the last
give
one
parents
rear
slack
themselves.
as well, because obviously over time normally when you have your first child, like you're still working, you're very vital, you're still active. So by the time the third, fourth child comes, you're already tired.
Yes.
You don't even have the strength to say, I have to really
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And you're not as afraid to disappoint your kids anymore.
Yeah.
Very much so. Very
So
much
you've got to really, in terms of worthiness, you have to look at what does worthy look like to me, and how and when have I felt worthy. In those moments that I felt worthy, what were the components? What was going on in my life? Whenever, because we all have a moment where we felt worthy, worthy of that hug, or worthy of that praise, or worthy of that recognition. What were the components around that worthiness? What did you do to get to that point where you felt deserving? What did you not do? How did you show up? Who were you in that moment? And then you will see a pattern that for you will only receive something and feel worthy of it if you've labored for a long time over it, or you have, you know, sucked up to people enough, or whether you have sacrificed yourself at the altar of everybody else's opinion enough. And then when you've done that, you think, so you'll find that for you, you know, I abandon my opinion at all costs and all times. So I'm worthy of this friendship because I am the one that abandons myself, you know, and you will find that, you know, success leaves clues. So does failure. So does everything in life. It leaves patterns behind. So what you want to do always to really identify and know yourself is to study your own patterns. And sometimes it's difficult to study your own patterns. Sometimes you need somebody else to show you your pattern. I was doing some business coaching with a client of mine, and you know, I had asked her to kind of give me certain history, and I asked her to find the pattern. And what she found was completely different. She didn't find the pattern. She'd found her method. She'd found her method. The method is nice, but she didn't see the pattern that was going through all of it. She couldn't have. She's in it. So she was able. It was because of me and my ability to sort of see, okay, this is the pattern. This is her superpower. This is what it is. So sometimes, you know, all the time, the benefit of coaching or therapy or somebody who knows what they're doing is to help you figure out your patterns and then give you a different set of skills and tools to create worthiness for yourself when there's no one to give it to you. Like I think you were saying earlier, or was it yourself? Well, we said earlier that, you know, is getting to that point where I can create a set of systems around me that will anchor me to worthiness. Even if you don't necessarily come to me. I can disrupt old patterns. We're talking today about working on ourselves and disrupting old thinking patterns, but anchoring yourself with certain things so that I can learn worthiness from scratch and, you know, and really bring that mothering, that energy.
And I remember what you said once upon a time about how you can't read the ingredients when you're inside the bottle. You can only read them from outside, right?
Yes.
So that's what we're talking about. It's like if you are actually going through it, you do need someone to kind of read out, okay, this is what this is made up of from the outside and not necessarily from the inside.
You can't read the label from within the bottle. I just want to read something else from here. Okay, it seems like everybody's having a conversation.
Yes.
Let's actually go into this question by Miss Love.
Yeah.
When is the right time that you can sleep with him without having issues?
When you stop having issues.
So what is this saying?
I think Mim was talking about, I think she might have come on later on. So she's saying that the one sharing sexual content is trying to rush this woman to bed. And then Laura says, I had one send me lingerie and he didn't even know me that well. Disgusting. He surely had me mistaken for someone else. That's an interesting one.
Yes.
But Amanda, Amanda Michelle, really struggling with self-esteem. I feel so much anxiety since Friday as I've not heard from the man I've been seeing. He clearly does not care about me and I'm so hurt.
Sending
What's
you
to be
hearts.
addressed? And like you say, is the first step in loving someone is learning to listen to them. If you don't want to listen to them, then how do you expect them to want to listen to you? Listening to each other is most valuable. That is very true.
Lovely.
And Amanda's coming from South Africa. Hello. Mim is from Belgium. Love you. We love you too. Lamanda Davis says, overachiever. I understand. So we're back to, yes.
Right, so let's answer this question. In terms of Amanda Michelle, I'm so sorry to hear it, darling, but you probably need to book a call for that because there's always layers to that. But if we have a minute, we'll answer that for you. But hurt feelings are good, means you're alive.
Exactly.
But that's I'm sure there are tons of videos around that. When he doesn't call, when he, if you go
so if you
to
have
the
a
academy,
look and just search on the academy, when he doesn't call, when he doesn't respond, when the vanisher returns, it's got a few.
We've got tons of videos on that. I think if you
Especially-
just binge watch those, that will help. But let's answer this one. When is the right time that you can sleep with him without having issues?
I like what Unique said. Say that again, Unique.
When you stop having issues.
I like
So
that.
what are the, because the thing is, look,
What are the issues?
as women, we're always going to have issues around this topic, aren't
Yes,
we?
but what when she says, is it that
When is the right time that you can sleep with him without having issues?
What are
Is
the
there
issues
ever?
that
I think the issues are, and again, because it's not a very clear question, but I'm going to just, come up with something that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Basically, when you sleep with a guy and you're not ready, maybe because he wants you to, or because there's pressure for you to, or maybe you're just feeling lust that day and you think, hang on, whatever, next, I'm jumping on that.
And then afterwards, you come.
Then he starts to misbehave. So the issues are he stops calling, he starts talking to you some kind of way, he stops being romantic, he just does the whole, bait and switch thing. So she's saying, what is the time that you can sleep with someone and avoid those issues?
Right. Okay.
So the answer that I have for you is that, number one, we cannot ever guarantee that people won't change after sex. Okay.
True.
There's no guarantee to that. And that change might not even have anything to do with the fact that you've slept with him. It might just be he's changed his mind, or he never had any intention of staying. And you can make a man wait for a year and he'll just shag other women until the year comes up, and then he'll shag you and move on anyway. So it's never really about time as in chronos, what's the clock giving him 6 months, right? Because a man will just sleep with other women for 6 months, and then when the 6 months comes up, he'll sleep with you and go. Really, it's about your own readiness, your own sense of, even if he turns around and tells me goodbye or starts to misbehave, I know that I am doing this because I want to do this, and I am not married to the outcome.
Yes.
I think that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Not being married
Yeah.
to the outcome. So that is when you stop having issues.
Yes.
When you're not so attached to, okay, if I sleep with him, maybe he'll marry me. Maybe he'll become my boyfriend. Maybe So as long as you don't have, and you're doing it because it's something you genuinely want to do as well.
Yeah.
Same as within the marriage. I got married and he still left. We waited, but he still left. And not very long after that as well. So it's like one of those things where it's, you are the one who doesn't have to, like, not, let me phrase that properly. Help me phrase this. It's us, it's we, our inners that we have to work on.
Yeah.
So that we don't have those issues, and we have to actually look, what are the issues?
Yeah.
But isn't this where self-worth comes in?
Yeah.
Because if you know that you're worthy, and I'm of the belief that if anyone is thirsty, then they must drink. Okay, so if you're worthy, or you know that you're worthy, but you have a thirst, and there is one here that you have got a semblance of a relationship with, then by all means go ahead and drink if you're thirsty, and you know that at the end of you quenching your thirst, that there's a possibility that he may not be there, then you won't feel that he has abandoned you or left you in some way, shape or form, and you are, you're at 7, now you're down to 2. That won't happen, because you know what, I wanted this, I needed this for whatever the reason is we've told ourselves that we need it for. I've done it, I feel better, look at my skin, isn't it lovely? You can walk with your head high, go where you're going, do the things that you need to do, but it hasn't diminished the value of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to take this on the highway. Just I'm going to speed it up a bit.
Okay.
I
think
get
we
a
need
bit
some
risque. Get a bit risque. You see,
Grab your cushions, ladies.
hold on tight. Fasten your seatbelt, because we're going there. So I was having a conversation with somebody who's a leader in the purity movement, and we were having a very candid conversation. And part of my sort of argument or dis-ease with the purity movement is these mindsets are created, is the messaging. I'm not saying all purity people, but I'm saying in general, there's this mindset that if only you handled your sexual life better, your relationship life would just flourish. No. It's almost like the purity movement has kind of put sex at the epicenter and the relationship around it.
Yeah.
Whereas I believe that the relationship is at the epicenter, and sex is one of the components that go around it.
Yes.
And one of the components.
One of the components.
If anything, it's like about a 10th.
Yes, it's a piece of a very complex puzzle.
Yes.
And what we have, because this particular person I was talking to has not had sex for 6 years, and as a result has not dated for 6 years. He's not dated for 6 years because he's afraid that if he dates, he's going to end up sexual. So he's avoided the whole relationship matrix in favor of avoiding the sexual temptation, falling, or whatever it is people are afraid of. So now what has happened is sex has become the throne.
Yeah.
And relationship has become the aside. If we teach people how to have a relationship, this is what we're here to teach you. This is what Coach Yvonne is teaching. That's what Coach Unique is telling you. Look, it's about relationship, the one you have with yourself. It's about the relationship with worthiness.
Yes.
I was waiting for you to finish, because it just reminded me of something, a conversation we had earlier about this whole thing, which is what the purity culture does. It makes you want to split your sexual being over here, your mental being over there, and your physical being over here. We cannot combine the two, but when you're having relationships, you meet all 3 components of a person. So it's almost like saying, we're really having this deep conversation about how sometimes we feel like you can't be fully a coach and fully a girlfriend. You can't be fully a mom and a coach. And like, but then hang on a minute, I am all those things at all times. I don't leave my spirit and pick it up on Sunday. Come, let's go to church. Like, I don't leave my physical, mental well-being to come to work and say, okay, we're coming to work. There's nowhere for me to store parts of me in my house to say, okay, today I'm taking the spirit.
It's not a pair of shoes.
Exactly, it's not. We always come as the 3-in-1. We're mind, body, soul, and spirit, however you want to put it. We move,
and
all of me moves with me.
And relationships expose the relationship we have with parts of ourselves.
Yes.
And the relationship, I had another conversation with another person saying, I don't get into relationships. She dates, but she doesn't get into relationships with men because she doesn't want the sexual expectation. But what boggled my mind is, why can't you have a non-sexual relationship with a man?
Yeah.
Like a committed, let's get to know each other. Why does it's almost like we live in this culture where sex is, it almost underpins everything towards relationship. And so all of this compartmentalizing happens when you put sex at the epicenter. And this is what Christianity, churchianity, purity culture has created. People having an unhealthy relationship with each other. Because these are relationship issues with each other. These are relationships between men and women, and an inability to navigate relationships in a healthy way, negotiating, communicating, sharing values. You know, it's all about negotiation. Just because I'm dating you doesn't mean I'm going to end up with you in bed. And just because I'm dating you and we're not in a relationship doesn't mean I might not sleep with you. Because it's about relationship with yourself, relationship with other people. And what I would like to see more in the purity culture is people learning how to have healthy and happy relationships that are not, okay, I'm leaving you over there. And here's the thing. People will run away from relationship because relationship can only highlight your sexual problems. Purity culture has hidden a lot of sexual trauma. There's a lot of emotional trauma. There's so much trauma that we don't have to face if we're not going to have sex for the next 10 years because Jesus doesn't like it or whatever. But that's what we call it. And so we've got this thing where we're not going to face it, but really what we're not wanting to face is relationships. What we don't want to do is be the awkward one. What we don't want to do is meet somebody and say, actually, this is my sexual standard. We want to avoid rejection. We want to avoid pain. We want to avoid discomfort, uncomfortable truths. Today we're talking about sharing uncomfortable truth. We want to avoid all of that which makes us human and which grows us. And relationships grow us. They make us. They empower us. But if we hide from them and hide in our churches and hide in our little, enclaves of, I'm not doing that. Even the first question we answered, he's showing kisses and whatever. He's showing his sexuality and it bothers you. I would ask myself, why does his sexuality bother me? Why does his comfortableness with him showing off his sexuality bother me? I'm not saying I can accept it. I'm not saying I'll like it. But isn't this a wonderful opportunity to explore myself and my sexual identity and my sexual discomforts? And isn't this an amazing
That's
opportunity?
the thing, though. We can explore comfortability, but we don't like to explore uncomfortability.
We're not supposed to have that in our lives. Everything is supposed to be, isn't it, equilibrium. We're supposed to have that equilibrium where everything just does that. We don't want that blip. Because when that blip comes, then how do I handle it? What do I do? What do I do? You can just, if we were robots, it would say, out of order, out of order, out of order, out of order, fix me, because you want to be there all the time.
When the sat nav tells you, please proceed to the route that is showing you, because you're not where you're supposed to be. Can you please just go back on the purple line? Stop coloring out here. Can you just go back over there so I can direct you properly? Which is what all these narratives do. It's like, we've been taught that you have to navigate your Christianity or your spiritual life by excluding a part of who you are. I mean, I always say this thing, I always say this thing. There's no one on here who came to earth just by popping out of a leaf. We all have had to come through.
Didn't grow from trees.
We have all had to come through that one thing, and that one thing has to happen for you to exist. And why is it that one uncomfortable thing that we can't talk about? Because again, it embodies and hides a lot of trauma. A lot of trauma goes on, and those are the uncomfortable truths. And even as friends, the friendships break up because there's of uncomfortabilityness that we're not willing to face. So the minute you face an uncomfortableness, that's when you can go to the next level. Same as in relationships. If we are not willing to face the fact that, okay, my husband has a very high sex drive and I'm coming into this world and I've not been taught about that, I can't handle it, it's uncomfortable. So we're not exploring it from a place of curiosity, but we're exploring from a place of judgment.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it's been hailed as the one ticket to hell.
Yes.
Yes.
I have these conversations all the time, and the bottom line is,
If
it's the
anything,
one
it's your ticket
ticket
into
to hell.
earth.
Yeah. It's like,
got
you
to do
mess
that.
up here, ooh, just go stand in the hell line and
Oh,
take
yeah.
a number, because that's where your behind is going, right? It's the fear factor and the shame around
And the
it,
guilt.
and the guilt
Yes.
that one has to carry.
Yeah.
It's not even worth it. You end up doing, you know what, forget relationships. And
Yeah.
that's how we end up with people who've been single for 20 years and 30 years and 40 years and just single for decades. It's not, they were so afraid of the guilt, shame, and fear of missing that one mark. And here's the thing, they're actually gonna go to hell for having lust in their hearts.
Yeah.
Because I had this conversation with this person, and I said, what do you want? What do you really want? It was just a conversation we were having. And then he said, what I really want to do is get on my bike, put a girl in the back, drive off to somewhere, stay in a motel, and just enjoy my weekend, but then we'll have sex. And here's the thing, the Bible says, if you look at a woman lustfully,
You sinned.
if you even
Just to think of it.
Yeah.
think about it,
You've done
you've
it.
already committed this something. What Jesus, I believe, was really trying to say in that conversation was simple. It was, look, don't think you can overcome sin other than for me who's done it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't even think it, because the root of it is so, it's so in you. And I consider even the unspoken, the undone.
Oh, yeah.
So when I sit and I look at these people that are like hardcore, I've been 20 years waiting on the Lord. And then I said to him, the problem now is that you don't want an ordinary girl. When you've waited 6 years, 7 years, you want Esther, Queen Esther impersonated on the planet.
Yeah.
Because I'd asked him, so what is it? I haven't met anyone who takes my breath away, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, really, the truth is you're only going to get 51% of what you want anyway. So what's this breath away? And he was like shocked, like, what? I was like, no, you're going to get a woman. And she's going to have something good and bad. It's going to be not.
perfect.
And even if she took your breath away, after 6 months, the honeymoon phase is over.
Yeah.
She will not be taking your breath
You
away.
get familiar. It gets familiar. Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine, like, how many, like, this is me speaking. Like, I remember when I first came onto your channel and I'm like, oh my God, 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 oh my God. And not that it's a bad thing, but I've become so familiar to your presence. It's no longer, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm sitting next to Chengi.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that anymore.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing, is like, if we just focus on like, I need these goosebumps. I need something.
Because
profound.
that's what keeps you in that state of stuck.
Yeah.
That's what is keeping a lot of people within the purity whole kind of thing stuck, not knowing that the purity culture is an actual industry. It's an actual $1 million, almost $1 billion industry, right? What we need to understand is that it's important for you to stay stuck and to stay, because if you don't want to go to hell or mess yourself up or get soul ties, you know, what happens is you sit and wait. And so now you sit for the Lord to bring your partner. Because you're afraid to go out there. Because when God brings your partner, he's going to be asexual until the wedding day. Because God is not going to bring a sexual man to you. No. Or God is
the one who created it anyway. But
or God is going to bring us such a highly disciplined man that even when he sees you, he will still not be aroused. You know? And we don't want that guy. You don't want a guy that is going to come into your life and when he's in your company, he can hold it down. We want to still feel like he's fighting the power. You know, he's having to work hard to not, you know. I'm not saying that there are no disciplined men, but what we've done is created this setup where if I'm a really, really good girl, I keep my legs crossed and I keep counting the years. 1, 2, 3, 4,
22,
5. God, where's my husband? Where is he? Where's my husband? Where's my
17,
Father? Where's my fasting?
Yeah.
Then
done it all.
Then you're gonna get a really good little. So I said to this person, look, we've been given a spirit of self-control.
Yeah.
If I go into the desert and there's no food in there, am I fasting? No. There is no food.
You can't eat.
I am in the desert. There is no water. I am only fasting if my fridge is full, my cupboards are full, and because of the spirit of self-control, I restrain myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're only truly pure if you're actually dating
Yeah.
and not having sex.
True.
It's
You actually have to be dating to say
Yeah.
I am pure.
Yeah.
That, to declare that I'm
And
living a
having to
purity
have those
lifestyle.
conversations over
And over.
You go
And be
on here.
rejected for
Yes,
it.
exactly.
And be taunted for it.
Yes.
And be accepted for it. You actually have to be doing that to claim that you're pure.
Yeah.
90% of the people in that movement are not even engaging with the opposite sex. They're not even engaging in anything romantic because
taken
of
a
the
break.
fear.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, I've been celibate. No, you've not been dating. You're not
Yeah.
celibate, darling.
And unfortunately, what then happens is when you started on that road, you were 20, 25, 30 and fit and fine.
Yes.
20 years later, you're not so fit and fine.
No.
Not because you're not fit and fine, but bitterness has set in. And bitterness sets in because guess what? When I was ready in my 20s,
Yeah.
I was perfect. The figure was, everything was on point. And now what has happened? And he still hasn't
And
come.
I wanted to be a mom. And I wanted
and
to be.
all the things. And it's not because he didn't come, but guess what? He didn't show up in you the way you wanted
in
him
the
to be
box you wanted
packaged.
him to come in.
He didn't come in a Tiffany box
No.
with a beautiful blue ribbon attached to it, and it had "From God to my beloved child" on it. It didn't have any of those, so you threw that one aside. And then God said, "Okay, you don't want Tiffany? Let me give you Bulgari." He came beautifully packaged, but guess what? You didn't like the look of the box, the color that Bulgari. You did, so you sent that one away. And then we have the audacity to say that there are no men out there. There's a scarcity.
No.
Because the thing is, we were
And then
taught.
what you end up being left with is H. Samuels. Because H. Samuels is the high street one, right? Which is where you now get the low value.
Now you get it.
Disclaimer, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not, no. I'm going to say H. Samuels, please don't
no,
come for us. We're not saying that it's low value. We're just saying that
It's not quite
it's
Tiffany's
not quite
or Bulgari.
Tiffany's, you know?
No.
And you know, it's a shame because it's part of the teaching.
Yeah.
If you wait on God, He'll give you the right thing.
Yes.
Baby, if you wait on God, He's going to give you a man. That man's going to have issues. He's going to have problems. And
The
God,
older you get.
and the older you get, it only gets worse.
Yeah.
And God is going to expect you to use the Spirit on the inside of you
Yes.
to win that man over, or to help that man, or to support that man. But the problem with purity culture, because I was told this for years and years and years and years and years and years. If you just keep yourself pure, God is going to bring a number one stellar man. So what happens is if he doesn't come, then now he's got not only got to be stellar. At this point, he's got to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
He's
It's
got to
God's
be
desire, isn't it?
There's
speaking
gonna
in
be gold
tongues.
medals.
Yes.
He's got to be medals.
He's got to
Yeah.
be
He's gonna
everything.
Everything.
Because your behind has been waiting for 10 whole years. Oh, and he's got to have the courage to get past your resting bitch face, right? Because remember, you're bitter now.
Yes,
So
yes.
you've got this, you know,
Yes.
so he's got to be that guy.
Yeah.
that will
Who
just
can get-
brazenly
Yeah.
step up to
Exactly.
you.
And
Because
then
God sent him.
But then you reject him because how dare you approach you that way? He's supposed to meet you in church and
Yes,
say, "Good morning,
well.
sister such and such. How are you doing today, sister such and such?" And then he goes to
And
the
then goes to your pastor.
and asks, "Can he date you?" And the pastor says, "Oh, but I thought Sister Jane would be better for you."
The thing is, we're laughing, but I actually,
It's
I
real.
know
It
churches
is
where
really real.
to
Yeah.
date one of the girls, a man
Yes.
has got to go and ask the
Ask.
pastor
Yeah.
for permission
And
to
Yes.
date.
Yes.
Have you?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's still happening right now.
Yes.
And people post it like it makes sense to me. Like they
Yeah.
posted like, yeah, and then he went to my pastor. I'm thinking,
So what happened to your dad?
I mean, really, okay, I don't want to upset anybody who comes from those sort of
Yes.
churches. We don't want to upset you.
No, but look, I mean, coming from that other side, that's the thing. It's like every time before, this was me in my 20s. Oh, but he has to go through my pastor. The thing is, I went to my pastor and my pastor didn't necessarily approve. But you're like, you could have done better. But me being stubborn, I went ahead anyway and did it because I'm that kind of girl. But then it's the ridicule I got afterwards. And I remember my cousin asking me, like, but didn't your pastors give you counseling? Didn't you, So I have come from that space where I'm looking at my pastors. Please tell me, is that the man for me? Da, 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 da. But we forget that we cannot bypass that the onus on us. Like, I need to learn how to have relationship for me. My pastor is not going to be there when I'm now stuck in a room with this man.
Yeah.
He's not going to be there. It's just going to be me and him. And that's why I was saying we have to learn first our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with God, and then the relationship that we have with the person that we choose, which is what we teach you. Know what you want first. Know that you are worthy of it first. And detail it.
Yes.
And the thing that my gripe is with the purity culture, it makes you make a list of what the other person should be.
Yes.
But then you forget what should you be to get that person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
We did the secrets of a man's mind. Certain man will request certain things from you. Are you that girl? R.C. Blake's covered it. So are you the kind of girl that the man of your dreams wants?
Yes. Yeah. You know, I did when I first got saved and was waiting for God to send me my perfect person.
Yeah.
I remember my pastor coming to see me one day, and I was saying about the man I wanted. So she said to me, write it down. I said, okay. And I wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. And I think there was about 3 or 4 pages full of everything that I wanted this man to be. And she looked at it. She looked at me. She looked at the list and she said to me, Yvonne, you want Jesus.
Jesus is your husband.
And he's already been taken.
Yeah.
And I said,
By the whole church.
oh, okay then. And there was nothing more that I could say about that, because then I realized from her saying that hold on a minute, what you're doing here and what you're saying and things that you are asking for, whilst some of them were completely legitimate, everything else just throw it out the window, because you would never ever 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 recognize it if it stood in front of you, because it was just so, it was just crazy.
I know. What do we have?
I know. We always say we're only going to do this for 10 minutes.
Yes.
And an hour later. Faces by Noah says, hey ladies, if on a first date a guy says that he is against no sex before marriage, so he wants sex before marriage, and I'm waiting till marriage to have sex, is it worth asking what his thought process is on this, or take it for what it is?
Take it for what it is.
Yeah.
Take it for what it is. I think he's just made your life so much easier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, if a guy is saying that up front,
yeah, good for him.
Straightforward, this is not something that he's open to negotiation.
Yeah.
And if you engage emotionally with him, you're only going to end up walking away from your values.
Yeah.
Because when a man leads with, this is my standard, I've dated guys who, it was not their standard, it became their standard because it was my standard at the time. So the reason that happened is because they weren't really either here or there. Do you know what I mean? They liked the girl. What do I need to do to get the girl?
Yeah.
But when a man leads with his standard, be rest assured, forget it. You can ask for curiosity's sake, why is that?
For
what
next time.
happened?
Yeah.
Chances are there's probably some trauma story, some bad story. He's probably waited for some girl who ended up playing him, or whatever the story is. So he might still be wounded, but you're not a therapist, you can't fix that.
Yeah.
And
he's gotta get over that.
Yeah, and no, he's not going to change his mind for you.
No.
Yeah.
And don't even get into the trap or fast and pray about it.
Yeah.
No.
Let's just accept that God's grace and goodness was to show you what you were dealing with up front.
And that's the thing though, sometimes we don't want to see it, do we?
Yes.
The signs are always there.
Yeah.
The signs are always there and building up, but we just don't want to. Again, it's that whole thing of uncomfortable truths.
Yeah.
It might have even come up in conversation. He might have been the one that you looked at his social media and like, oh, okay, interesting. But then you still went ahead on the date with him.
Yeah.
God was showing you all those signs all this time, but you still went ahead on the date with him. And then he still proceeded to say that, and you're like, and it's one of those things where sometimes we think God, like I think when we're doing the 3 days of prayer on High Valley Girls Pray, and we're saying God is, we think miracles are all about the pizzazz and the abracadabra, blah, yada. You know, here he comes and we split the water, but God does things in such ordinary ways. It was, we're just walking across the river. Yeah, here you go, Moses. Here's your stick. Just put it in the water. And remember, we're running from the Israelites.
Yes.
He stuck the stick in the water, and it parted ways. It was not a hurrah moment. They did not have time to sit there and marvel that we're running.
Yeah.
And this is what we need to exit.
Yeah.
It was just another ordinary day. Like we kept on saying, it's miracles always happen in just another ordinary day. When I met my partner, it was just another ordinary day. It was on a day on Hinge. I got on, we spoke. Oh, I like the sound of you. Okay, let's have a phone call. Yes, I like the sound of you. Definitely need a date from this girl. And that is how it progressed. It was just another day. But we're expecting God to come from the thunder and part the clouds. Move on.
Drum roll.
Drum roll.
Yeah, and God's ways are so natural.
Yeah.
They're so, okay, this is your guy. He's into this.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to wait till marriage.
Yeah.
And when we do, there must be a way. Where there seems to be no way.
Yeah.
It's a spirit.
A river in the wilderness.
Spiritual thing.
It's like
all things are possible with God.
yes,
I
all
just need to
things are
pray.
possible.
Yeah.
I can turn him around.
Yeah.
God's
There you go.
goodness sometimes is just showing you.
Yeah.
That's it. And all he just expects you to do is say, you know what? I see it. Now, look, I always say to people, Christ says, look, before you build a house, count the costs.
Yeah.
But he didn't say in any of that scripture, if you've counted the cost and you don't have enough, don't build it. What he's saying is be conscious of what it will take to establish a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if you hear that he doesn't want to wait till marriage and you're waiting till marriage, then in this instance, God is not making a decision for you. He's presenting you with a fact. This is the cost of this relationship. It's going to cost your compromise. It's going to cost your tenacity. You're going to really have to get a chastity belt for this guy because he's made it plain. You're probably going to be ghosted. You're probably going to be cheated on. You're probably going to, because if he's not taking it from you, he's definitely going to take it from somebody else.
Exactly.
So God is simply presenting the cost. Now you could be the girl that's like, bring it. Can you take that?
Yeah.
You know, I was
Can you
talking to a
handle it?
client of mine and I said to her, look, when we finish working together and you still want to get your ex back, we'll get him back for you.
Yeah.
So she was like, cool. So she took that thing. We got to the end and she said, Chengi, you said when we get to the end of the process, we can get Johnny back. So I said to her, I did. I said, do you want to know what the next step is? And then she said, yes. So I told her the next step. She's like, I don't want to do that. I was like, but that's the step to get Johnny back. And when, let's say we take this step that you don't want to take, and we get Johnny back, Johnny's not going to be any different from the guy you left or who left you. You're still the same guy.
Yeah.
He's going to bring the same story, the same issues, the same problems, the same da-da-da-da-da. Is that the Johnny we're out here trying to go get?
Yeah.
What I was simply saying is there's a cost. There's a cost to everything we want.
Yeah.
If you say, I want John, I don't care, I love John, John comes at a price.
Yes.
And God is faithful to show us the price up front. You know, when you go into a shop and you see the price of the item you like and you get to decide, or you go away and you save up and say, you know what, I really like that handbag. I didn't quite have enough, so I'm going to go away and save up for 2 weeks or borrow it or do something.
Yeah.
But don't come to the shop with half the amount and go to the till and make a fool of yourself. Right? So,
But don't we do that? There's like we go to Tiffany's as if we're going to the market. And we think we're gonna be able to barter the price. Or like, oh, but can you give me 30% off? Because you know I've been here a few times. And it's like, no, if you want something valuable, you're gonna have to put the money
pay
in.
full price.
Pay full price. And like I say, most designer shops don't even have sales.
Yes.
If it's a true couture designer,
Yeah,
there's nothing.
they
They
don't.
don't even know that word.
Yeah.
You come in there and ask for sale, they're like, oh, what?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
don't do that.
You know when you're going, as we're talking about jewellery, you know when you're going, there's graphs in Knightsbridge and the security guard is by the door. So unless you've got an appointment, you don't go in.
Yeah.
So he stands there. He's got his clipboard with the names on it. And if your name's not down, you're not going in. So do you get what I mean?
There's a cost to it.
There's
so,
a
and if
cost,
you're interested,
yes.
then you find out, how do I get on the list?
Yes.
This is you now finding out, okay, if I'm saying I want this high value man, this man, this particular ex-boyfriend, how do I achieve that list? How do I get onto that list?
Yes.
And next thing you know, they're most probably paid to be on that list, or they have a certain...
Or they've waited for 6 months
Yes,
to be on that list.
exactly.
So if you want a guy who's saying he doesn't want this, you want this, you can sow your life and your mental health into getting him. And guess what?
And that's the thing, that's the cost, isn't it? Because I
Yes.
think what we now have to explain the cost, because I think you're thinking, oh no, I have to go and updo myself and upgrade and blah blah blah. But the cost is also, are you willing to cost you your mental health? Are you willing to one, the cost of entering into any sexual activity? It comes with protection, it comes with you risk yourself of getting STIs, you risk yourself of getting all sorts of things. For you to be doing that, there's always a cost to it, always. Even if you think you're paying cheap, there's always a cost. I want to say, remember the time there was that debacle of they were using minors to sew for the likes of Primark and all of that. Even if they say something's at a sale, someone has had to pay the cost for it to be brought down to that much. And for him to say that he will not accept your offer of, I don't want to do sex before marriage. His cost has been the trauma that he's had to live with. That is why he's come to that conclusion that, okay, no, I'm not going to do that. And he feels women should prove their worth because he has been swindled elsewhere. That's the cost he has paid. And that's the amount that he's like, okay, this is what I'm now willing to trade this thing for. So it's not just cost as in money. It's cost as in your mental health, your spiritual health, and your physical health as well.
But the other thing with that as well is that we women, we need to understand that we pay the cost that somebody else has done, and we women pay it because the way in which he treats you after that debacle of that first, second, third, or even fourth one has done it to him. Then he's now made his mind up, the fifth one's not going to do it. And you pay the price if you decide that because whilst he looks like a great guy, talks like everything about him is fine, he's met everything on your core needs, but he's not emotionally available. Why? When he got shut down, this happened, all manner of things. So he decided, you know what, I'm going to shut down. I'll show up only when it is absolutely necessary. Other than that, you stay there, I'll stay here, and if we can coexist, then we will. We pay that, and it's something that we need to realize when when things happen to men. There is always a cost.
Which is why I keep saying we are now. That's why we coach men as well. The soulmate is also available for men, because it's not just women who are hurting. Because what's that saying? Hurt people. The reason why we are experiencing all of these questions is because someone has hurt these men, and these men have hurt someone else, and the cycle keeps going until we get to a point where we are willing to talk about those uncomfortable things again, to bring out the best out of the men, because no one is too far gone that they cannot receive healing.
No, this is true, and that's the beauty of us bringing the men in. Because you know what, I don't know if I would think maybe 95% of the male population worldwide has got trauma. And they don't have anyone to talk to about it. And the beauty of being a woman is that you've got a core group of friends that you can talk to. But unfortunately, broken men advise broken men. And what they're getting, and they're not getting anything that is going to aid them in the next relationship. They take the brokenness in that relationship, and the friend who has advised them have given them more brokenness on top of what they've got, and they wahala the life of the woman that they've got because they don't know.
I mean, girls, we have done so well. I think we need to prepare to go because you need to leave in 9 minutes.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless things have changed.
No, they haven't yet. But that's
Right.
the thing, though. It's like we always say, "Oh, we're gonna be on here for 10 minutes," but it ends up
Yeah.
being like because there's now so much more that it really opens up a whole conversation about how women can actually heal men.
I think we should do a Saturday all day and
Yes,
just
I
leave the
think we
cameras
do.
running and
Yeah.
have a cup of tea.
Yeah,
and
because
sit
you'd
down
be
and have a
surprised.
nap.
Like
Yeah.
literally, whenever we meet up, we'll have these same conversations. And the
Yeah.
thing is, I remember because we were trying to say, "Oh no, let's separate work and let's actually work," but we had to come and say, "This is actually our work. This is what we do, right? This is what we do. This is how we have conversations around the work table. We'll be over here looking at emails and everything, but then the conversations will come up because we are relationship coaches.
Yeah.
So this is work.
It is
So
work.
I think that would be a really good thing, isn't
This
it?
is what, absolutely. Have them.
This lady, is it Meme Ali?
Yeah.
She says, for me, somebody offered swinging type of relationship. I was really shocked. I knew that he was definitely traumatized.
And so were you, honey. So were you. But it's
That
so
would have
well
been
that I
a
know
shock
you.
for swinging.
And you know,
yeah.
the healing journey for men and for women is so crucial.
Yeah.
What I'm finding is that because so many women are healing and really taking their healing seriously,
Yeah.
I noticed that not enough men were doing the same.
Yeah,
and I feel like,
exactly.
you know, we need to be able to support. But here's the thing, ladies, before we go, I wanted to just say to you, we can't heal the men if you don't talk to them and give
Yeah.
them the details of the
Yeah,
Black Swan
that's true.
Vault for men, right? We need to refer them to the Black Swan Academy, because I actually believe men need the help, they just don't know where to go.
Yeah.
And you know, for me, my personal practice has always been word of mouth referral. But if we want to see culture change, if we want to see healthier men who are with us on healthy journeys,
Yeah.
we need to be able to point them in the right direction.
Yes.
We need to be able to you know, invite them to the Black Swan Nation, you know, get them to talk to one of the coaches. And then hopefully we can create a healthy movement, because I feel like there are a lot of people helping men out there, but sometimes not necessarily with the traumas that men have in relation to the kind of women that the Black Swan Relationship Academy is raising and creating for the planet.
Yes.
So yeah, we need your help to spread the word to the men. Let them know we're here to help them as well. And they have a secret Facebook, Instagram page that is private, so you're not allowed in. It's called the Black Swan Vault.
Yeah.
And the Vault on Facebook, and they're all private, and I'll tell you why they're private. It's not because I want to have conversations that have nothing to do with you,
Yeah.
but because men are not like women. The moment a woman, other than their coach or coaches, walk into the room, they can no longer be 100% honest, because men don't want to look vulnerable or weak in front of beautiful women.
Yeah.
So if we eliminate the beautiful women part,
It reminds me of, you know,
Then
the
we're
match
gonna
that
get
we
more
went
honesty.
to. The match that we went to, and you could feel
Yes.
that the impression levels went up. A tad.
yes, you know, we walk into a room, and we went to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu match this weekend. You can check that out on my Instagram. And, you know, the men just started fighting a bit harder. You know, they can't help it. They'll perform, they will compete. And what I want to do, and the reason I'm giving them a space without us in there is, well, the rest of you beautiful swans in there, is I want to give them a space where we can actually heal them.
Yeah.
And we can actually have honest conversations. But we will be having co-ed classes in the academy, so some of our live calls will be joint male and female. So that will be good if you want to meet them. But by and large, we're just going to keep it to men, so please don't ask to join. You probably will, but I'll just say no. Otherwise, I think we're done here. We got to say goodbye.
We are done. Definitely, they're all up for an all-day Saturday workshop. That would be amazing.
That would be good.
That
Who's
would
all up
really
for it?
be amazing.
All day Saturday workshop.
Because we talked about doing like just keeping the
Yes.
camera on and just having a
Yeah.
discussion, and it'd be really good.
We can
That
do
would
it.
be
We can do
good.
it via Zoom, and I can go and get my coffee with my
Yes. Yes.
Spend the day with the coaches.
Yes.
These are kind of the candid conversations that we have in Swan Nation.
Yes.
Because especially with the way we've now restructured it, is to give that space to have the candid conversations, and that is what we're creating for the men as well. Is a safe space to have the conversations. And I think today, of all times, we really realize the importance of safe spaces, right?
Yeah.
Even within friendships, within relationships, because then you can be fully yourself, and you don't have to separate parts of you for you to fully exist.
Yeah.
And not be like compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's where the healing of trauma happens, when you feel you don't have to compartmentalize anymore, and you can just be. And yes, I'm not saying that you just have to kind of vomit over everyone. It's understanding the spaces that you're in, understanding that when you're with your husband or your partner, there's certain things that you just definitely don't tell a man. When you're with your friends, yeah, of course, do that. But then when you're with your friends, there's certain things, conversations that you can't have with your man. But you're not now doing those things from a place of compartmentalizing. You're doing it from a space where you now understand that you are safe, regardless of what space you find yourself in.
100%.
So yes, yay, co-ed classes. Oh, Cynthia, girl, you call me.
I know, co-ed classes. I know everybody wants, I think we had a suggestion to do a matchmaking service, which I am terrible at, by the way. But I think Coach Unique says she's got the superpowers there. The idea is to create a Black Swan universe in a world where Black Swans meet Black Swans, basically, because I feel like there needs to be a culture created that allows people who think the same way, men and women that are wired in a high value way, masculine men, feminine women can come together and meet each other. And I would love to see billions of men and billions of women, and a pool for us to go to. You know, when you go on a date, you understand he's a swan. We know who's going to pay. We know who's going to open doors. We know who's going to be respectful. We know who's going to be feminine. We know who's going to be, you know, like there's certain things that are just understood within the Black Swan culture. And
but
that's what
isn't
we're trying
that
to
a
create.
beautiful thing, though, that when you go on a date with someone, you don't have to worry
Yeah.
or wonder, will he open the car door for me?
Yeah.
Will he hold
And
the
you don't have to do all this testing stuff where you just stand and you wait and you almost miss the car because
it happens.
he just drives off.
Or when you come out of the car and he closes the door and you walk towards the other door, he automatically does and not slam it so you hit your head.
He just knows you're being feminine. And there's just this understanding of he understands what a feminine woman is, and you don't have to be like, I'm just trying to be feminine here, you know. You know, and he knows that
every conversation ends up being an explanation.
Conversation. Like, I don't know how many times I said, but I'm just a feminine woman. I'm just a feminine woman, and they're like, no, you're not. You're lazy. I'm like, no, I'm actually just feminine because I can't open my own door, but you know, it's something for you to do. So I'm hoping that, you know, definitely the Black Swan legacy will be to create a universe of men and women who men and women who understand what we're creating here. And it's really not, I don't believe that it's anything new. I think it's just going back to the values that have served us.
Actually, I think because, again, not to rattle any feathers, my accent is coming out. Not to rattle any
Feathers.
Yeah, that's that word. We've gone through a full circle.
Yeah.
Of feminine movement, feminist movement, and We're now going back to this thing actually used to work with women being feminine and men being masculine. Can we just go back to that?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the mothers of that have been so disregarded. They've kind of, it's like they were buried with that knowledge.
Yeah.
They didn't write it down for us to learn. So we're now having to rediscover that whole world. So I love the way you put it as like, you know, we're having to, it served us very well.
Yeah.
And it's not just that if you don't want to be a feminine woman, that's okay. And I think that's the beauty of choice now. If you want to be a masculine woman, there's definitely a feminine man out there for you. And if, you know.
But you know, the beauty of the Black Swan is that the men, when they come in, they are knowing how to be masculine men. And for the feminine men out there who want to turn, who want to be masculine, who wants to lead, who wants to show up for his woman, who wants to be there to teach the the children and be all the things that God has said he's supposed to be. There's a place where he can learn, and he doesn't have to go to his little Joe round the corner at the barber shop or wherever it is men get their advice from. To hear, you can actually hear from another woman who's going to tell you, this is how women want, and when you do this for her, she does this for you, and it's not doing.
And men want to learn.
You know, they want to learn.
The amount of conversations I had with Kit here a minute ago, and we have like 4-hour conversations, and he really wants to learn. I think that men are more open to learning, and I have this conversation with men as well. That I always say to men, look, women are really open to learning. They just don't know where to go.
Yes.
But if you can really sit a woman down and explain, women do want to be more. They want to be better. They want to be feminine. But I think there's this thing, and I think Arcee Blakes is doing a video tonight. I might check that out. There's this war of the sexes. This gender wars that is just fueled by a lot of misunderstanding. I find that a lot of guys might be behaving feminine, but it's because no one's ever actually told them or pointed out to them that behavior is actually feminine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, that desire is actually feminine. And the amount of conversations I have with men where I'm like, actually, I know that feels right to you. And I know that sounds right to you, but it's actually feminine. It's not wrong, it's feminine. And if you're going to sit in your feminine, if you're going to hold that idea, I was talking to a guy who was like, you know, unless a woman pays 50-50, he feels she's in it for dinner or whatever ridiculous concept. I've heard this before. It just annoys me. But I understand that there are girls that go out there for dinner. I don't know. I'm not one of them. And he was hellbound in the fact, I said to him, that's fine. As long as you accept that is a feminine position. Because the feminine is concerned with fairness and the masculine is concerned with winning. That if you are going to be preoccupied with fairness, then you are now in your feminine, and you're going to run that feminine dynamic through the relationship, and what's going to happen is it's going to be met with disrespect and dishonor. And then you're going to wonder, why am I being disrespected by women everywhere I go? Because when feminine and feminine come together, we don't respect each other, we just love each other, we get on, we cherish each other, right? And then he was like, oh, I was like, you're welcome to hold that viewpoint, but if you do meet a feminine woman who does take care of herself and is soft and everything that you desire, she will find it impossible to respect you. So when he understood that, he was like, oh, I get it. And now he's changed his whole sort of viewpoint. So it wasn't that he didn't want to learn, it's because there's just no information. They just don't realize.
It had never been explained to him in that way.
Exactly.
Where you can understand from the other point of view. Because I think that's where, because I remember, again, I know most of the ladies, whenever they join, and we'll be online and they'll be like, oh, I like him, I like the way he looks. And we have to kind of train you guys, like, no, we're women, we don't choose based on looks. We don't choose with their eyes. Because that's a masculine thing. Men choose with their eyes. The whole thing of I want a pretty boy, I want him 6 foot this and it's really a very masculine concept. And in now understanding that, then you start to embody it, and you like it's like, you know, when, because you've been so used to this pattern, and when you now understand, okay, that's not how I should be functioning, and when you're willing to change it, it changes that's when you can literally say it's raining men and it's raining masculine men, because I'm now functioning in the way I'm meant to be functioning. Or should I say, in the way where I now understand that, oh, okay, me choosing with my eyes is a very masculine thing. So what does it mean to be feminine? Okay, I need to choose with how I feel, with how he makes me feel. And it then gets us into our feelings, because as masculine women, as former masculine women, we didn't understand feelings. I didn't understand. What do you mean, how do I feel? I can tell you how I think. What do you mean, how do I feel?
Exactly what I think.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I'll tell you a thing or two about what I think, but ask me how I feel. It's like,
what?
And that's where, again, this is me apologizing for a video I did when I said you can't ask a man how does it feel. I have explained it in the comments. You have a look. But it's that whole thing about, we cannot predominantly in most conversations ask a man how he feels, because that puts him in his feminine.
Yes.
And to avoid that, it's like what we teach is how you become feminine, stay in your feminine, and communicate feminine. Same with the man. How do you even identify what masculinity is? And then say you should meet a masculine woman, how do you then approach that to ensure her that she's safe? Because remember, sometimes we're behaving as masculine because we're just not safe. So we're creating that safe space for
We're going to do it, ladies. We have your support, and we have your love, and we are, the vision is huge and massive.
It is.
And like me and Meme,
I think we what was that, co-ed, we're all very happy about co-ed. For me, somebody offering, okay, that was swinging.
Safe space is so good because you show all your sides comfortably.
Yeah.
As Coach Nadine. It's an awakening for me. Oh, wonderful, Amanda.
It is. Lamanda Davis asked the question correct, and where did it come from? Do you want to explain it a bit more?
What's that?
I'm not. Lamanda Davis, she says correct, and where did it come from? So I'm not sure what we were talking about when that comment came up.
Yes. Excellent. If you match between, that's Meme Ali. Excellent. If you match between people who already stand for the standards that you teach in the academy, that's already 80% match.
Yeah.
Of mentality and beliefs.
But you don't even have to look for
Absolutely.
51 anymore.
Yes.
It so helps.
That so does help. That
Definitely
really
does.
does.
I think that's us
That's
done
us done.
today.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been.
Do leave your
Unless-
comments and questions if you're
yeah.
watching the replay or whatever, and we will be in the comments. Promise.
We always are.
Yeah.
That's where the juice is at. The
Yeah.
comments.
Yes, the comments are juicy. I'm always in the comments. Either
Did we answer all of them now? I think that's
I believe
we
we've
did.
answered. We haven't answered all the questions. We'll come back next week and we'll answer some of the ones that we haven't
I like
answered.
that one. But
Yes.
we'll answer it next
Yes,
week
we've got a
for
few
this
questions from this post. We're going to come back and answer all your questions. And what we'll probably do is post something on a Sunday
Yeah.
for Monday's question and answer session, so we
that'd be
can
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd
make
be
a
really
thing
good.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely let you know when we're going to do
A whole
maybe not
day.
a whole day,
Half a
as
day.
in 9 hours, but we'll
A few
a
hours.
good few
Maybe
hours.
we should make it an
yes.
event and make it a private YouTube event because we've never done events on YouTube.
Oh, can you do that? Ladies, we'll end up having a
Until
conversation.
only before for
And
the
let
ones
you
who have,
know.
who have joined the mailing list.
Yeah.
Yay.
So we can mail it.
That sounds like
Because some
fun.
of these conversations, because we also need to prepare you as well, so that you are able to log in and be there. Because I think sometimes lives like this are great, but then when someone comes back to actually watch it and they were not prepared for the conversations, then they have the questions after, then
Yes.
we've all gone.
Yes.
So it's nice when you actually know in advance and we say we're having an event, so you can come with your questions and prepare.
Yeah.
And we've never done a YouTube event, have we? We've always
we
done
sure
everywhere
should.
else.
Yeah.
But
That sounds like
yeah.
That
fun.
sounds like
Yeah.
it. That does sound
We'll
good.
do that.
Yeah. So definitely,
Yeah.
we could do a good few hours there on a Saturday.
Well, I am done here. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank
It's been
you,
a bit of a
everyone.
day. We're
Yes.
bellies full
Hello.
of vegan burgers.
good vegan stuff.
Yeah. All right then, ladies. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
joining
everyone.
us.
Yeah.
Have a great evening. Bye.
You're loved, as always.
You are loved.
Bye.
Now,
the
let's
X.
see. The X is over here. Let me try not to. Yay.
Yay.